ready, Sally?
Rimore, I've been standing here for 7.5 minutes.
Just checking.
Do you have the map?
Yeah, but it's basically blank. Did you read the case file? What do you think?
I'm not sure yet. It's really not a lot to go on. Did you read it?
Yeah, I'll read it on the way to the crime scene. It's the little boat we used to cross the lake. It's the only way on or off the island.
What a comforting thought.
It's a bird bath. Is that just rainwater? Looks a little weird.
The birds seem to like it.
They're even singing a little tune. Toot, 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 toot.
Please don't do that.
What are they?
Wind chimes. Silent, wooden wind chimes.
It's just an archway, but it seems a little ominous. Like walking through it might give you bad luck.
Too late.
Mountains.
Nope. They're too steep and too smooth to be mountains. They're more like cliffs.
Whatever they are, they go all the way around the lake, like a barrier. And it's full of the same weird water that was in the lake.
Any fish in there?
Not a single one. Although there is something in there.
It's a cassette tape. Or it used to be.
It's a statue of some hideous, scaly, bipedal fish monster.
Playing a harp.
Playing a harp. Hang on a second. This isn't just a regular statue, is it?
Something tells me we're not gonna solve this just yet.
Let's come back later. It must do something.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? Spooky. What do you think it's for?
I think it's to scare away detectives.
Is it working?
No. And it's full of the same weird water that was in the lake.
Any fish in there?
Not a single one. Although there is something in there.
It's a cassette tape. Or it used to be.
It's a stone carving. Wonder how it got cracked.
I think it's supposed to look like that. It's an egg. It's a bandstand.
Bit small for a bandstand.
It's a one-man bandstand.
What animal is that?
Hawk. Bear. Lizard.
Right, of course. A hawk bear lizard.
Oh.
What?
Oh. There's an O on the floor.
Oh yeah. Tangle Tower.
Twir.
Should we ring the doorbell?
Why would we not? It's a little melody. Is that an envelope?
It's been opened, but the letter's still in there. Let's read it.
Isn't that an invasion of someone's privacy?
No, definitely.
Do you think he'll start to move if we try to go inside?
No, I think he'll just silently judge us. Ah, there's a heart engraved in the tree. I didn't know people actually did that.
PPFF. Let's head to the crime scene first. It's at the top of the West Tower, I think.
What is that?
I think it's a family tree.
Fiona Fellow, dead center. She must be important.
She's half Fellow and half Remington.
Do you think she still lives here?
Lord Remington.
He sounds important. Lady Remington.
I think I have one of those in my bathroom. Emily Everstone. Do you think she still lives here?
Now it's a big glass tube filled with water.
There are weeds in there. And sand.
It's an aquarium?
Could be. Except there's nothing living in it. Anymore. This one has a big P.
That's probably important.
How very P-ceptive of you.
A big letter F.
Of course. Who doesn't hang a giant banner of their initial in the lobby of their mansion?
Supposedly, Freya was working on the painting when she was killed. Looks like she was still holding her paintbrush and palette when she fell.
Didn't even get a chance to clean her brush.
Supposedly, Freya was working on the painting when she was killed. Looks like she was still holding her paintbrush and palette when she fell.
Didn't even get a chance to clean her brush.
There it is. The unfinished portrait of Flora Fellow.
So, what? Freya was killed halfway through painting it?
Looks that way.
I wonder if all of Freya's paintings are this creepy. Maybe it's just because she never got to finish it.
There's something wrong with the crime scene. And something really weird about the murder weapon.
We didn't find a murder weapon.
Flora's portrait is holding a knife tipped with blood because it stabbed Freya.
What?
Weird, huh?
You think Freya was stabbed by a painting? Not by the woman from the painting, but by the painting itself.
Mm-hmm. Freya was standing right up by the canvas when she was killed. There's blood on the knife. It's the murder weapon.
Right, but it's not actually a knife. It can't stab.
See any other knives around here? Case closed.
The case is not closed. And even if you were right, where does that leave us? A painting can't be a murder suspect.
Flora Fellow?
Hey, sorry to barge in. I'm sure you're still in some distress.
We need to ask you a few questions, I'm afraid.
Did you witness the murder, Flora?
Nothing. What do we do?
Not sure. She's entitled to her silence, I suppose.
For now. Is there anything you'd like to tell us, Flora? I don't really know anything about you at all.
I think that's the way she likes it. We'll just have to ask other people about her.
Yeah, okay.
Freya was painting your portrait yesterday. Is that right?
Was this something you had planned with her ahead of time?
Was there something special about yesterday?
Did you talk to Freya at all while she was painting you?
She's not going to answer us, is she?
Nope. But at least we can say we tried. Flora, you were definitely in the room at the time of the murder. Surely you must have seen something? Can you tell me anything about what happened to Freya? She's acting pretty suspicious if you ask me.
I don't know. Maybe she really doesn't know anything.
How is that possible? Freya's painting supplies. Freya's painting supplies. Supposedly, Freya was working on the painting when she was killed. Looks like she was still holding her paintbrush and palette when she fell.
Didn't even get a chance to clean her brush.
The outline of Freya fell out. Looks like she fell onto her back. There's a single patch of blood, right in the middle. No real signs of a struggle.
That's weird.
What?
Her feet were right up by the canvas.
So?
So she was probably standing really close to the canvas when she fell.
Let's check the case file again. Is that a gramophone?
I think so. Except it's got a tape deck instead of a turntable.
It's also got a big crack down the middle.
What about the cassette tape?
Yeah, it sure is pink.
Do you think it still works?
The gramophone? Yeah, we could give it a go. It's piano music. the room is a big open window.
I don't know if you can call it an open window. It's more like the sudden absence of wall.
A little pot plant, balanced on the window ledge.
It's the only plant in the entire room.
We're at the top of the tower, right?
I think so. Why?
Doesn't matter. It's nothing.
Is that an egg? An egg with bird feet.
It's also covered in gemstones. What a completely ordinary object.
I think it's a container for something.
Those gems look like they come off. Got it.
I'm impressed. Did it unlock? What's in there?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Well, I'm not leaving without a clue. An empty egg's a clue, right? Sir? Can you hear me? I'm Private Detective Grimoire. I have some questions for you.
Grimoire. Good mysterious name. I'd rather like it. Felix Fellow at your beck and call.
And, this is my colleague, Sally.
Yeah, that's a perfectly good name as well.
Thanks.
If you would, Mr. Fellow, we really need to ask you about the murder.
Well, I must say I'm rather jealous of you two.
Oh yeah? Why's that?
Out here solving mysteries, exploring new places, uncovering secret rooms, hidden treasures. That's what life is all about.
Secret rooms?
Generally speaking, you know, that sort of thing.
So, Felix, what exactly do you, do?
Is it not obvious? I'm an explorer. Explorer / treasure hunter. Yes, well, best in the world.
We're talking like cursed statues, spike pits.
It's a little more sophisticated than that. But I've certainly seen my share of danger, if that's what you're asking.
And, if I may ask, when did you retire?
You listen here. I may be between ventures right now, but it's simply not in my nature to stay in one place for too long. I go wherever the winds of destiny take me.
Don't you live here with your wife and daughter?
Yes, well, the Fellow family has certain loyalties, and with Flora the way she is,
Nothing wrong with raising a family, Mr. Fellow.
Don't misunderstand me. Fiona and Flora are my entire world. They are the greatest treasure of all.
Uh-huh.
Why on earth would you want to know about that?
The murder of Freya Fellow. The reason we're here?
Ah, right. Nasty business. Very unfortunate. I regret that I can't be of any help, but I wish you all the best in your investigation.
Hear that, Grimoire? We're done here. Let's go.
It's a simple question, Felix. I'm sure you're up to it.
Well, there's not much to tell. Mostly, I was in my room by myself, working on Flora's, working on a project.
Your room is quite close to Flora's tower. You didn't hear anything unusual?
What qualifies as unusual?
What have you got?
It was dusk. A feeling lingered in the air. Malevolent? Perhaps. Uncertain as life itself.
Abridged version, please.
Right. Fine. I heard someone heading down the stairs, just outside my room. The footsteps were calm, orderly, so I thought nothing of it. Shortly afterward, I heard a second set of footsteps, going the same way. This time I could tell just from the sound that something was wrong. So I looked out into the hallway. I got a glimpse of Poppy disappearing down the staircase to the floor below. Didn't know what to make of it, to be honest. I thought perhaps she'd had a disagreement with Fitz, as I know those two are close. So I looked into his room, just in case, but it was empty, as was the garden beyond his window. Back in the hallway, I bumped into a very concerned-looking Penelope. She was heading up Fellow Tower to find Professor Pointer, so I escorted her. We went into Flora's room. Poor Freya was laying on the floor. Fiona, Poppy, Fitz, and Pointer were there already. Flora, too, of course. Soon enough, everyone else made their excuses and left.
Including you?
Not I. I stayed. Flora needed me.
An old wooden mask.
Probably cursed. Shelf junk.
Puffer fish?
Yes, it's also a lamp, for some reason. The entire room is made of wood.
Oh, it's not just made of wood. I think it's the actual hull of a ship.
A little hand-painted statue.
How can you tell it's hand-painted?
Well, the paints are right there on the desk. Also, I mean, no offense, but you can just tell. Nice. A real treasure chest.
How do you know there's treasure in there?
Why else would it be locked? Plus, there's a treasure map hanging directly above it. What's the deal with that painting on the front?
Not sure. We should check that treasure map, too.
That's done it.
Neat. What was in the box?
More wooden models. These are a little different to the one on the desk.
What is it?
He's an imp.
What does he do?
Well, if you tell too many lies, he appears at the end of your bed in the middle of the night.
Oh. It's a barometer, but it's broken.
I've never seen a barometer that wasn't broken.
Locked.
painting is really something.
Why would you want it looming over your bed like that?
Maybe Freya enjoyed the atmosphere it creates.
The atmosphere of chaos and oppression?
Hang on. There's a smaller version down by the floor.
It's a photograph. Drawings taped up on the wall.
What's that one on the left?
Looks like two people standing together in a garden. One of them's holding a red rose. A pillow with a paw print pattern.
It's a cushion.
Yeah, but that doesn't alliterate. It's a little glass box.
I think it's a vivarium.
Come again?
See the leaves and twigs in there? Might have been for keeping insects.
Not the kind of lamp I choose for my bedroom, but fair enough.
It's cool. Looks like old mining equipment or something.
Did Freya paint those animals on her ceiling?
They're kind of simplistic.
Maybe she painted them when she was younger. It's a little wooden box for paintbrushes.
To the casual observer, maybe. They're not real paintbrushes. Looks like they're part of some kind of lock mechanism. There we go.
Perfect. What was in the box?
Just a photograph. Well, most of a photograph.
Is that a snow globe?
Of sorts. Hey, look at that. It's a model of Tangle Tower. There's the lake and those weird mountains. What are you thinking?
That would make an amazing souvenir.
It's an illustrated book about birds.
It's been left open. Looks like somebody was halfway through reading it.
Or it was left open for us to find.
Ever so slightly unnerving. A chalkboard.
Is this a library or a classroom?
Any idea what this means?
Not a clue.
Math equations.
Don't look at them for too long. You'll give yourself a headache.
Any idea what this means?
Not a clue.
I'm not sure I learned anything from that. Books about ancient history?
These books are ancient history. I think they'd crumble into dust if I tried to pick them up.
Good excuse.
Thanks.
A book on the floor. Fundamental entomology.
I guess somebody dropped it.
Books about insects.
Well, theoretically. There's not a single book on that shelf.
Huh.
books about space.
They're relatively untouched.
Curious. I would expect bacteria of that nature to thrive in these conditions.
Excuse me.
Taking all the environmental factors into account, there must be something I am still missing.
May I talk to you, miss?
She knows we're here. She just doesn't care.
I am a detective, and I need to talk.
Correction. You do not need to talk to me,
Oh no? How come?
because I am not a suspect. I am completely innocent of any and all crimes.
Thanks for letting me know.
Speaking of which, you have now been at Tangle Tower for over 23 minutes. Surely you have already reached a sturdy hypothesis.
A hypothesis? About the murder?
Yeah, come on, Grimoire, hurry up.
My apologies. Unfortunately, protocol dictates I must at least meet all the suspects. And that includes you. So, could you tell me your name?
Fifi Fellow, microbiologist, inventor, innovator. You will need to be more specific. Oneself cannot be summarized in a single response without doing one a great disservice.
So true.
Well, first of all, you're a fellow. So does that make you the daughter of...
Correct. My father and mother are named Flora and Felix, but you need not question either of them. It will only waste valuable time. Neither of them are capable of murder.
Thanks for the tip.
Fifi, you said you were a micro... something or other?
Microbiologist, but it is an insignificant label. My studies cannot be categorized in any one recognized field.
What made you want to become a scientist in the first place?
I harbor an intrinsic fascination with the microscopic. I constructed my first one at age 10.
Constructed a microscope?
Correct.
And what's that thing on your head? Did you make that too?
My eyesight began to deteriorate when I turned 12. Not satisfied with the eyeglasses prescribed to me, I designed this custom lens instead. It automatically adjusts based on the surrounding light conditions.
Does it glow red when you get angry?
No, but that would be most amusing. What can you tell me about the murder?
What can you tell me about... Wait, that's what I'm supposed to ask you.
Yes, however, you were too slow.
You fancy yourself a detective too, Fifi?
I just need to know what happened.
Me too. So talk.
Fine. I knew ahead of time that Freya was going to be busy with her painting all day, so I had planned to spend the afternoon with Poppy. I was in the library all morning preparing the equipment for an experiment, only to find out that Poppy had made other plans and she was in fact planning to ignore me completely.
Oh.
So what did you do instead?
I locked myself in my room and cried.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Why?
I don't know, it just sounds kind of sad.
It is not unusual.
Oh. Good.
I was in my room. The lights were off and the door was locked. Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it until the someone began shouting at me. I opened the door. Poppy came into my room. Her makeup was leaking. She told me Freya was dead. I did not believe it. I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face. She insisted that we go up to Flora's tower. We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs. When I saw Freya lying on the floor, I was completely and utterly devastated. Then, I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting. Poppy and I took the sample back downstairs to the library. We performed a test and found out that it was, in fact, blood.
You performed that scientific test immediately, even though you were feeling so upset?
Of course. Why would one affect the other?
Fifi's bedroom should be unlocked now.
Can't wait.
Fifi's got something pinned up here.
What is all this?
And that's you, Sally.
What? I do not look like that. Do I? Who is that?
No idea.
Who is that?
No idea. Is that supposed to be me? Why do
That's
I-
just the face you make when you're thinking. Does make you wonder, though. When did Fifi draw all this?
Is Fifi trying to solve the mystery with math equations?
Maybe. Did you ever try that? Maybe it works.
Did you notice who isn't on here?
Freya?
Mm-hmm. And Fifi herself. A new suspect! Don't think you can get out being questioned just because you're a bear.
I'm innocent, I promise!
Save it for the judge.
Boxes. Of stuff.
That's a whole lot of books. Scientific formulas. Probably. I'll openly admit I have no idea what any of it means.
I don't know what that drink is, but I bet it's 99% sugar.
I'd read you the ingredients, but there's nothing written on the can.
That's even worse.
What's that big book on the desk?
Looks like something Fifi's been writing.
Is it a clue?
I hope not. It's just a bunch of notes about her microbiology experiments.
It's a magnifying glass. A big one.
How come you don't have one of those?
Why? Because I'm a detective? Should I start smoking a pipe too?
You couldn't pull off a pipe. Homemade posters. This one's about the Pythagoras theorem.
I've not heard of that band. Are they any good? A pretty ornate window with a great view of the lake.
We're supposed to be looking for clues, not assessing the real estate value.
And over here, you'll see the owners use sheets of paper to block out all that unnecessary natural light. A simple trick, but it really transforms the space. Crystal chandeliers. Extra fancy.
I don't know. They just seem old-fashioned to me. Plus, they're kinda dusty.
It looks like a microscope. A big one.
Can I touch it? I'm not sure this is a microscope.
I guess that's wrong.
The 4 lenses all have different magnification strengths, so they must each have a specific position along the rail.
I got it.
I'm impressed. Sounds like it unlocked.
Yeah, it's built on top of a little metal box. There's a book in here.
There's a metal plaque on the bench.
Is there a message engraved on it?
I think there was at one point, but someone scratched it off.
A giant glowing gemstone full of plants.
AKA a greenhouse. Whoa, nice cape.
You're not fellows or pointers. I'm sure I shall immediately regret asking. But who are you, and what is your business here?
I'm Sally, and this is my sidekick Grimoire.
A private detective, Grimoire.
Really? You're a detective. If this is a joke, it's not a good one.
Who are you, anyway?
Private Detective Hawkshaw.
Oh, nice. Hawkshaw's a cooler name than Grimoire. Maybe I'll become her sidekick.
You're not on the Freya Fellow case, too, are you?
That is classified information between myself and my client. Clearly, this is something which eludes you. But a real detective refrains from handing out informations to persons unknown.
Oh, right.
Now, if you would, I have work to do. It's not in my interest to discuss personal details.
Even if you're one of the suspects in a murder?
Very well. Let us make a small exception. Ask.
Oh, what are you doing here?
I'm on a case at the behest of my client.
How long have you been at Tangle Tower?
133 hours. 5.5 days.
Who are you working for?
I am not at liberty to answer that. Now, I shall permit you one more question.
What crime are you...
How'd you get that scar? It's cool.
You really think so? As it happens, I completed an examination of Flora's room on the morning before the murder. I've been investigating every single room at Tangle Tower. Hers was one of the last on my list.
Did you find anything unusual?
Nothing but a thin layer of dust and an atmosphere of somber melancholy.
Was Flora in there at the time?
She spent the duration of my search staring up at the sky, out the open window. Didn't say a word, although I'm told this is the expected behavior.
What did you do after that?
I spent the early evening searching the library. It took longer than it should have. Fiona leaves that room in a permanent state of disarray.
Fiona was in the library too?
I expected her to make an appearance, but she did not.
And you stayed in the library the rest of the day?
Not quite. Towards the early evening, my examination of the library was unexpectedly disrupted. Sounds of running, wailing, shouting from several floors above. I vacated the library, but before I could begin my ascent, Professor Pointer appeared. He emerged from the Pointer staircase, crossed the hall, and begun up the fellow staircase. Our eyes met. He was breathless. Something had caused him great alarm. He told me to stay out of the way. I consented and decided to return to my office in the stone square. As I was passing through the front door, Penelope called out from behind me. She was clutching the banister of the Pointer staircase with an apprehensive manner. She wished to know where Professor Pointer had gone. I told her what had transpired. Then, she too crossed the hall and disappeared up the fellow staircase. More so than at any moment prior, I felt like quite an intruder in the house. I took my leave, out towards the stone square. The grounds were silent. There were no signs of human life. Even the greenhouse was without its typical inhabitant. I noted that he, too, must be entangled in whatever was transpiring in Fellow Tower. An unremarkable hour passed before the gardener finally made his appearance. He spoke to me of what had occurred. His report was as clumsy and cumbersome as the man giving it.
Did he seem upset?
He was rattled. That much was clear. But sorrowful, mournful, I cannot say.
A wooden trunk that opens up into a full desk.
I want one. Is that a clock?
If it is, it's a clock with 4 faces.
I'm guessing it doesn't tell the time.
So what does it do?
Got it.
I'm impressed. What's in the box?
A little tool thing? Looks like a telescope. But I'm not actually sure what it is. This one's in a little pot.
Okay, that is definitely not edible.
It looks like a gemstone, don't you think?
Bags of soil.
It's so blue.
That's a handsome beetle. Looks like he might have magic powers.
Is that fruit? It's shaped like fruit.
Too shiny to be fruit. I think it's glowing a little too.
Safe to eat, do you think?
I'm gonna say no. A little chart of... actually, I have no idea what it's about. Kinda reminds me of a periodic table.
Greek letters, I think.
Kinda reminds me of a periodic table.
What do you make of it?
Not a whole lot.
Sally, don't move. We're being watched.
Yeah, I see him. He's a little too big to hide in the bushes. Is anyone going to say anything? Or shall we just stand around staring at each other?
Right, sorry.
Sorry.
That's better. I'm Sally. And the guy hiding behind me is Detective Grimoire. Who are you?
Fitzfellow, the gardener.
Mm-hmm. And why are you so tall?
I don't know.
You work here as the gardener.
I don't get paid to do it. It's just my area of interest.
What's the deal with the plants? They're all kinda weird.
Right. Did you see the lake?
That giant green and purple lake surrounding the entire house? Yeah, I clocked it.
The color is just a byproduct.
Of what? Poison?
It's not poisonous. Not to you.
What's this got to do with the plants?
The water controls all life, just like anywhere else on the planet. Clouds form, rain falls. The water grows the plants, animals eat the plants. Anything you've perceived as an irregularity is simply a result of this hydrological cycle.
Could you say that again, but like, condense it as if you were talking to a slightly stupid person?
Our lake water causes the unpredictable alteration of DNA, sometimes.
Alteration? Like mutation?
That'd be the official term. For us, it's normal. Just nature.
And you're the local expert on all this stuff?
No, I'm just the gardener. I was in my greenhouse, watering and weeding.
Sounds exciting.
Was anyone else around?
Not at first. Penelope came in a little later. She likes looking at the flowers, I think.
Did you speak to each other?
A little, not too much. We both left the greenhouse in the early afternoon. I went up to my room. Then I came back outside to weed the main gardens. Didn't see anyone else. After that, I went up to the garden outside my room.
And?
Let me guess. Watering and weeding.
Right.
Did anything happen to you yesterday, Fitz?
I was up in the rooftop garden. It was quiet. And then, it wasn't. I can't describe it. Could have been a scream, but it didn't sound human. We thought it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there.
We?
Poppy was with me. Did I not mention that? Flora's room was locked. That's normal. She usually locks it from the inside. I knocked on the door and shouted. Nobody responded. We became concerned.
You kicked the door down?
I did. Poppy and I went in. Freya was right there, laying on her back. Flora was there too, but I barely noticed her at first. Poppy left the room for a while. When she came back, she had her father with her, and Fifi too. Penelope arrived shortly after that, with Felix in tow. I thought that was odd. You don't normally see the two of them together. Felix took charge. There was nothing else I could do to help. I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized nobody had told Detective Hawkshaw anything. I found her pacing back and forth around the stone square. When I approached her, she snapped at me. I think she was annoyed about being made to wait outside so long. But when I told her about Freya, she fell silent.
Fitz's room is unlocked. It's up in the fellow tower.
This could be interesting. An empty glass and an empty plate.
Looking at it is making me want to cry.
Why?
I don't know.
It's a little handmade card. Someone's drawn a heart on the front. Inside it says, "To Fitz, from PP." Huh. Neither of these lights have an actual light bulb.
They're just decorative.
Oh, so decorative.
That poor plant.
Looks pretty healthy to me.
Healthy, but sad. I think it would rather be outside. Hello.
Not hidden very well, is it?
Doesn't need to be. It's locked. It's a combination lock. Sort of. That's done it.
Neat. Anything in there?
Yeah, it's wrapped in a cloth. Hold on. Huh, that's kind of ominous.
There's someone outside the window.
Something outside the window. It's probably just a rock.
You sure? It's locked, but it leads outside.
I thought we were halfway up a tower.
We are.
What's that thing by the handle? Let's come back once we know what to do.
Sheet music. It's handwritten.
That's a lot of notes. Looks pretty difficult.
Probably why they're on the floor. Are they paper lanterns?
Whatever they are, I like them. It's like a little parade of floating spirits.
Oh, whatever it is, it's playing a little trumpet.
Well, it is the music room. He's got to practice.
What's with all the broken glass? There's a faded mural on the wall.
When I was a kid, I never knew the difference between a mural and a mosaic.
You still don't know, do you?
No.
One old wooden bookcase.
Yep.
25 dry old books.
Mm-hmm.
4 lit candles.
Yeah.
Am I the only one seeing the problem?
Are you a ghost?
Sally! That's rude! Unless she is a ghost.
It may come as a disappointment, but I am alive.
Ah.
That makes you a suspect, I'm afraid.
I know.
What's your name?
My name is Poppy. I'm a pointer. And a pianist.
We'll need to ask you a few questions about Freya.
I know.
Hey, you're pretty good.
All in the wrist. And 13 years of dedicated practice. I'm just me. There's nothing to know.
How are you related to the other pointers?
My father is Percival Pointer. The professor spends most of his time hidden away in his tower. Barely speaks to anyone these days. Especially not the fellows.
Do you get on with the fellows?
2 of them. Fifi and Freya are my closest friends. We all turned 19 last year.
Do people ever leave Tangle Tower? I don't mean to be rude. It's just, if you're 19...
You don't have to answer that, Poppy.
It's a fair question. I'd like to move away. Definitely. Fifi, Freya, and I would often talk about it, argue about it. Freya wanted to leave, but Fifi... things are more complicated for her.
What about now?
After what happened, I really don't want to stay here much longer. 3.5 hours of piano practice, soon as I wake up. Same as always.
3.5? Does that not hurt your hands?
Sure.
And you do this in the music room?
No, I prefer to practice in my room. When I make mistakes, I like to make them in private.
What did you do after that?
I was supposed to meet Fifi in the library, but I totally forgot. When I finally got down there, she'd already gone. I checked her bedroom, but it was locked.
Was Fifi not in there?
No idea. She keeps her door locked either way. So I went back upstairs and out into the moonlight garden.
The what?
The little garden on the roof outside my room.
Was it just you up there?
No. Fitz came outside after a while. His room's on the other side. He's been teaching me about flowers.
So, did you talk to him?
Not really.
You ignored each other.
I didn't say that. Fitz and I were up in the moonlight garden most of the afternoon. Then we heard this sound. Lasted about 3 seconds. I've been trying to decide how to describe it, but I'm struggling. It was like something drilling into a piece of metal, but different. Worse. I was pretty sure it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there to check. Her door was locked. Nobody was answering. I knew Freya and Flora were both supposed to be in there, so I made Fitz kick down the door. I went inside. Freya was lying on the floor.
Flora was in the room too?
Yeah. I think she realized what had happened at the same moment I did. I didn't know what to do, so I ran downstairs to get Fifi. Her door was still locked, but I knocked and shouted at her. Eventually, she let me in. The lights were off, but I could see she'd already been crying. I told her what had happened. She didn't believe me. She got angry. First time I've ever seen her angry. I dragged her out into the hall. My father was there too, for some reason. The 3 of us went back up to Flora's tower. Then Felix arrived. He had Penny with him. Fifi had this idea. She wanted to do some kind of scientific test. She took me down to the library. We were in there about 15 minutes. After she was done, she went back upstairs and I went back to my room.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. Poppy's bedroom is unlocked.
I wonder what's in there. There's a name for this kind of piano. You know, these ones that stand upright? Sheet music.
It's
Presumably.
only a few notes. I'd barely even call that music.
Yeah, it's been framed though. Must be important for some reason. Anything in the wardrobe?
Dresses mostly. I never realized there were so many shades of black.
Ah, yes, a giant symbol drawn in chalk on the floor. Always a good omen.
It's an eye.
That is the bed of a vampire.
I thought vampires slept in coffins.
This is a vampire who needs firm support for their lower back. That is the bed of a vampire.
I thought vampires slept in coffins.
This is a vampire who needs firm support for their lower back. Various handmade posters.
What do you think those symbols mean?
Hopefully, nothing.
It's an octopus.
No, it's not. It has 6 legs, not 8. Don't say it.
Sextopus. It's a metronome for keeping time.
It's ticking. Is it a bomb?
It's supposed to be ticking. Not sure what those symbols are, though. That's done it.
Neat. What happened?
Little hatch unlocked in the back.
Anything in there?
Mm-hmm. It's a photograph. Part of a photograph.
There's something about that pink cassette tape. Something suspicious.
Let's ask Poppy about it.
I need to confirm something with you, Poppy.
Confirm away.
What can you tell us about this cassette tape? Is it yours?
It belongs to Freya. She liked to have music playing while she was painting, you know.
And do you know what kind of music is on this tape?
No idea. Acid jazz?
It's piano music. Sounds an awful lot like your music, to be honest.
Sure it doesn't belong to you?
Why are we even talking about this? Cassette tapes have been redundant for a good few years now.
The tape was found at the crime scene. It was in the gramophone.
It's not mine. I'd never own anything like that.
Why not?
Not my color.
You used to like these colors.
Ridiculous.
We need a clue to compare with the cassette tape. Something that proves Poppy used to like these colors. Let's take a closer look at this. pink cassette tape found at the crime scene matches the pink cassette player used by Poppy in this old photo.
That is not me.
Yeah, it is. I'll prove it. You look a little different, but Fifi and Freya are pretty recognizable. It's clearly a photo of you with your two best friends. Why'd you tear it up and then hide it?
I think the answer is pretty straightforward. Poppy doesn't want to look like that anymore.
That's it. Makes this whole thing seem kind of irrelevant.
Maybe. It depends on the reason.
The reason she doesn't want to look like that anymore?
The passage of time is a powerful thing.
Hold on. This means that pink cassette tape does belong to you, Poppy.
It used to. I recorded some piano music onto it and gave it to Freya as a gift. Years ago.
Freya could have easily been listening to this tape at the exact moment she was killed. There's gotta be a connection between the tape, the gramophone, and the murder.
There's one other thing I want to know. How did it get that crack down the middle?
I have no idea.
A big glass door leads out into a garden.
There's a little mechanism by the handle.
Something happened.
That must be it. And the door's still locked.
I still feel like we made some sort of progress.
Locked. They're bird cages. But the birds are coming and going freely.
Is that a metaphor?
Oh, it totally is. Check out that butterfly.
Looks evil.
Wow, judgmental.
My little writing desk. It's kind of...
There's nothing written in the book, although someone's torn a page out of the middle.
Bird diagrams. Hand-painted.
They're beautiful. Someone really knows their stuff. I don't like mirrors. They steal your soul.
How do you get your hair so symmetrical without using a mirror?
I do it by weight. I can feel if one side is heavier than the other.
An especially fancy cage.
And it's home to 3 especially fancy birds.
Oh, just beautiful. What is it?
Huh?
Sort of a delicate jade, but with a little seafoam green, is that right?
Sorry?
Your hair, dear! Which shade do you use? It's lovely! And that shape, you're really pushing the envelope.
Oh, thanks. I do what I can to offset Grimoire's beige on brown ensemble.
Detectives don't need to be brightly colored. We prefer to blend into the background.
Oh, you're the detective? Delightful. Penny Pointer, pleasure.
Is that short for Penelope?
Officially, yes, but I never can be bothered with all 4 syllables of it. Penelope sounds a little ostentatious coming out of the mouth, don't you think?
Sure. Yeah.
20-something, Aquarius, love to travel, and nearly all of my friends are birds.
Travel? Where to?
Anywhere at all, as long as it has species worth studying. Ornithology, they call it. I call it the only thing I've ever been good at.
And have you studied the birds here at Tangle Tower?
But of course! Where else do you think I developed my love of the field? No matter where I go, I always find myself coming home to Tangle Tower.
Because of the birds.
Oh, no, because of him! Silly to admit, but I suppose I can't bear for us to be apart.
Who are you talking about?
Oh, don't you know? My fiancé, dear Fitz. He's not really the traveling type, you see.
Fitz Fellow.
The very one.
You're engaged to a member of the Fellow family? That's interesting.
I'm not especially interested in whatever tedious feuding goes on between our two families. Fitz and I find it much easier to stay out of it altogether. I awoke early and headed down into the greenhouse to see Fitz. He's always there, crack of dawn, every morning like clockwork.
How come?
It's where he's happiest. That and he has a great deal of work to do every day, watering, pruning, mulching, whatever that is.
Do you help him with the work in the greenhouse?
Oh, no. I wouldn't dream of it. I'd probably break something.
So, you stayed with Fitz the whole day?
No. In the early afternoon, he went back inside. Rather suddenly, as it happens.
Did he say why?
He didn't. Probably just a touch of heat stroke, the poor dear. He's more delicate than you'd think.
What did you do after that?
Let's see. I returned to the aviary to feed my birds.
And how many birds are you responsible for?
Officially 4, but in truth it's more like 400.
Can they not feed themselves?
Of course, and they often do. But I think they just like the company. As do I. Sometime in the evening, I left the aviary and headed back towards my room. But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs. He was muttering something. Seemed a bit upset, the poor dear. I followed him down, but the grand hall was empty by the time I got there. Empty aside from Detective Hawkshaw, who was loitering over by the library. I don't know what it was, but she looked a little lost. I inquired about the professor, and she told me he'd gone up the Fellow Tower. I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path. For some reason, he was coming out of Fitz's bedroom. He looked rather lost, too. I told him I was looking for Uncle. He suggested we look up in Flora's tower room. We could see from the hallway. The door was off its hinges. I knew then something was terribly wrong. A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of poor Freya. Uncle Pointer was there. Fitz, too, standing over in the corner with Fifi and Poppy.
What about Flora?
Of course, silent as ever. Uncle suggested we should leave. Give the others some space, you know. So he and I both returned to our rooms in Pointer Tower.
We can get into Penny's room now.
Now, like, right now?
Traveling cases.
Empty. All of them.
That's some flower.
There's something weird about it. It just feels out of place.
A little tea set. Looks recently used.
One of the cups has tea in it.
What's in the other one?
Birdseed.
That bed. It's like something from a fairy tale.
Does it feel warm over here? Or is it just...
No, you're right. Maybe the bed has some kind of heater.
It's not coming from the bed. It's coming from the wall. A little bedtime reading?
Let's see. Romance novels, detective novels, and
What?
this one appears to be both.
Nice.
That's a big window.
You know, the birds can easily get in and out of those cages.
Oh, if that's true, can they even be considered cages?
It's a birdhouse.
Are those real birds? Nope, they're wooden.
They're using up all the perches. What if a real bird wanted to use it?
No, that was it.
Nice work. Did the door open? What's in there?
It's a chart of the solar system. Which planet are you from, Sally?
Pretty.
It's tidier than my desk. Oh, the notebook is untouched. It's completely...
So? Even the most well-used notebooks start off blank. You know, I've always wanted one of those.
A mechanical solar system?
I would look at it.
Wait a minute. Earth in the middle, sun on the outside. How old is this thing? No, that was it.
Nice work. Did you hear that? Something.
There's a little hatch underneath? What's in there?
A bunch of paper. Looks like somebody's research.
Shh, listen. Do you hear them? The stars. They're whispering. So quiet, and yet so loud.
What are they whispering about? Are they spreading rumors about us?
I shouldn't think they concern themselves with such insignificance. We are but specks of dust, you and I.
Mm-hmm. Could this speck of dust start by telling me his name?
You find yourself standing in the astronomy tower of one Professor Percival Pointer.
Seems like this tower belongs to the Pointers, and the other one belongs to the Fellows.
Well observed, my dear. Tangle Tower is something of a duality, as it happens. Meaningless boundaries, really. They exist only in our minds.
Helpful.
Me? Not much to say. Strictly speaking, I'm the current head of the Pointer family. And, of course, father to my precious Poppy.
And a professional astronomer?
Oh, no, that's just a little hobby. I mean, yes, I've studied the stars for over 35 years, published 17 books.
Just a little hobby.
Sounds like you're quite well known. You must bring in a good amount of money.
Oh, dear me, no. My field of research has never yielded any kind of stable financial return, nor would I expect it to. I am nothing but a humble interpreter for the cosmos, working to translate its message so that I may share it with the world.
Cool. Tell the cosmos I say hi.
The day began as any other, with blissful, unremarkable routine. I took my usual morning walk around the gardens. Fresh air does wonders for the mind.
Did you see anyone else?
Penelope and Fitz were in the greenhouse together. I didn't bother them, of course. I sat for a while besides the pond in the garden. It's a favorite spot of mine. Eventually, I returned to my tower and buried myself in my studies for the afternoon.
Did you use your telescope yesterday?
Once the stars began to appear, naturally.
For how long?
I can't say. I've been known to lose hours at my telescope.
Did you see anything?
No actual discoveries, if that's what you mean.
So you were all alone up in the astronomy tower. Must have been a while before you found out what had happened to Freya.
Quite. Normally, I would be the last to find out about such a thing. But a curious tug of fate led me towards the fellow tower later that evening. I was at my telescope for the majority of the evening, but at one point I returned to my desk to look something up in a reference book. I couldn't find the book I wanted, so I figured Fiona must have borrowed it. I left my tower and headed down towards the Grand Hall. I spotted Detective Hawkshaw coming out of the library. She looked impatient and slightly frustrated.
Same as ever, then?
Quite. I passed her by and went upstairs to Fiona's room. The door was locked, but I could hear shouting coming from inside. I recognized Fiona's voice as well as the voice of my own daughter. I had no desire to invade their privacy by eavesdropping, so I waited for them to finish and come out into the hall. Before I could ask about the book, Poppy grabbed my hand and took me upstairs along with Fiona. It was apparent that both of them had already been crying about something. We went up to Flora's tower. Freya was laying on her back, right in the middle of the room. Flora and Fitz were already there. They both looked stoic as ever. Felix and Penny arrived shortly after we did, and then Fiona went downstairs with Poppy for some reason. I quickly decided that I should leave also. I took Penelope with me, and we both went back to our rooms in Pointer Tower.
Why did you leave so quickly? Wasn't there anything you could have done to help?
Don't take this the wrong way, but the whole ordeal is fellow family business. I'm quite sure they don't need me getting in the way at a time like that.
That's all the statements.
Let's go over them all. That's all the statements collected. Let's run through them all to see if anything doesn't add up.
To see if anyone's been lying.
That too.
Fitz and I were up in the moonlight garden most of the afternoon. Then we heard this sound. Lasted about 3 seconds.
We thought it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there.
Her door was locked. Nobody was answering. So I made Fitz kick down the door.
Poppy and I went in. Freya was right there, laying on her back.
I left my tower and headed down towards the Grand Hall.
But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs.
I vacated the library, but before I could begin my ascent, Professor Pointer appeared.
I didn't know what to do, so I ran downstairs to get Fifi.
I heard someone heading down the stairs, just outside my room.
Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it. until the someone began shouting at me.
Eventually, she let me in.
I spotted Detective Hawkshaw coming out of the library.
He emerged from the pointer staircase, crossed the hall, and begun up the fellow staircase. As I was passing through the front door, Penelope called out from behind me. I inquired about the professor, and she told me he'd gone up the fellow tower.
I told her what had happened. She didn't believe me. She got angry.
I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face.
I recognized Fiona's voice as well as the voice of my own daughter.
We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs.
I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path.
Back in the hallway, I bumped into a very concerned-looking Penelope. She was heading up Fellow Tower to find Professor Pointer, so I escorted her.
Poppy left the room for a while. When she came back, she had her father with her, and Fifi too.
Felix and Penny arrived shortly after we did.
A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of poor Freya.
Then, I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting.
She took me down to the library. We were in there about 15 minutes.
I quickly decided that I should leave also. I took Penelope with me, and we both went back to our rooms in Pointer Tower.
I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized nobody had told Detective Hawkshaw anything.
An unremarkable hour passed before the gardener finally made his appearance.
I think she was annoyed about being made to wait outside so long, but when I told her about Freya, she fell silent.
That's disappointing.
What is?
All the statements line up with each other.
They don't just line up. Some of them even seem to specifically confirm each other. Every astronomy tower needs a telescope.
I want to try.
You can see right into Flora's room.
Not by accident.
I can see Flora, but she's not looking this way. She's looking up. Behind her is the backside of the easel holding Freya's unfinished painting. I can't really see anything behind it. Not from this angle.
It's that little plant Flora keeps on the window ledge.
Don't you think it would fall off? In the wind.
Maybe it's glued down.
I can see the doorway. It leads into the hall. The door itself is on the floor, knocked off its hinges.
Is that a window?
I think it is.
Is there another room above Flora's room?
We should check that next time we're over there. Isn't this supposed to be an astronomy telescope? I'm pretty sure you need to see the sky for astronomy to work.
I can't move it. I think this is just how it's set up.
What is that?
Not sure. Some kind of reel?
Looks like it might attach to something. It's a statue of a wolf, standing up straight, like a man.
You know, there's a name for that.
I know.
It's not quite as dusty as everything else up here. Also, it's not a statue. It's stuffed.
Just dusty junk.
What's in that little box? I bet it's bones. A skull, at least.
You know, maybe I won't open it.
Someone painted out the window.
Do you think it was done recently?
No idea. Either way, it's pretty suspicious. Where's that light coming from?
Well, it's just daylight, I think. There's a decent gap between those floorboards. Is that what I think it is? Is that what I think it is? Anything we should know? Any hobbies, besides staring out the window? We met Felix, your husband. He's one of our suspects, and he seems pretty suspicious if you ask me. So, if you want to stick up for him, now's your chance.
Nice try. We spoke to your daughter Fifi. She's some kind of super intelligent scientist. You must be proud of her. We spoke to Hawkshaw. I assume she didn't get anything out of you either. I bet that really ticked her off.
Were you close with Freya? How are you two related? Did you kill Freya?
Grimoire!
What? I don't even think she's listening.
Oh, she's listening.
Do you and Fitz have anything to do with each other? Other than your initials? You know the guy in the other tower? Weird astronomy professor guy?
Can you see him from your window? Can he see you?
What do you know about Penny?
I can't really imagine those two being friends, to be honest.
You never know. Do you and Poppy get along?
Nothing. Shocker. Grimoire, what could you possibly be writing down?
Oh no, I gave up making notes ages ago. Now I'm just doodling in the margins. It's locked, but it leads outside.
I thought we were halfway up a tower.
We are.
What's that thing by the handle?
It made a noise.
I guess that was right. Finally, it's open.
Whatever's on the other side better be worth it. It's another little statue, doing a really bad job of hiding in the bushes.
He's playing a lute this time.
He's also wearing headphones.
Well, they're not part of the statue. And they're not headphones. They're earmuffs.
A little pond.
It looks really, really deep for some reason. See those metal bars around the edges too?
Oh yeah. What do you suppose they're for?
Nothing anymore. Looks like somebody broke them and then never bothered to fix it.
It's a rose bush, growing on a little patch of bluish soil. Apart from a couple of loose petals on one side, the whole thing looks very well cared for.
The roses are bright red too.
Now, aren't roses normally that color?
Exactly. That's one big dragonfly.
Or one very small dragon.
Giant stone frog. Love it.
Ah, he's got his tongue out like he's catching snowflakes.
Except those aren't snowflakes. They're feathers. More egg statues.
I don't get it. Why eggs?
Well, either they have some special significance, or the sculptor was just really lazy.
What do you mean?
An egg has got to be the easiest shape to make. More egg statues.
I don't get it. Why eggs?
Well, either they have some special significance, or the sculptor was just really lazy.
What do you mean?
An egg has got to be the easiest shape to make.
Name, Flora Fellow. age 44, profession unknown, likes unknown, dislikes unknown.
Isn't she your mother? How do you not know anything?
I believe other people may have discovered methods of reaching her, but I have little capacity for interpreting nonverbal communication.
And how long has Flora been non-verbal?
She has always been quiet, willing to speak when necessary, but not more.
So what happened to make her stop talking entirely?
She suffered a great loss, something she has been unable to move beyond. Name, Felix Fellow, age 53, profession none. Likes, collecting objects of negligible monetary value and assigning them personal value. Dislikes, the inescapable realities of human existence. Notes, Felix is my father and legal guardian.
And, is he a good dad?
I have no point of comparison, but I would say no.
No? Why not?
You asked me a binary question. Do not get upset that I provided one of the two possible answers.
What makes him a bad father, Fifi?
He has trouble expressing his emotions, and something of a willful detachment from reality.
Huh. Just like you, then.
Grimoire.
No, he is quite correct. Name, Fiona Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, amateur microbiologist. Likes, the meaningful archiving of information. Dislikes, the superfluous window dressing accompanying the majority of human contact. Notes, kindly disregard the polysyllabic form of my given forename and refer to me instead as Fifi.
How come you prefer Fifi?
How come you prefer Grimoire?
How are you related to the other fellows?
Fitz is my cousin. His father, a man named Flint, was my uncle.
Was?
I do not know if Flint is alive or not. He left Tangle Tower a long time ago.
And what about Freya? How are you related to her?
We share exactly one grandparent. Name, Hawkshaw. Age, unknown. Profession, private detective. Likes, quote, being left alone. Dislikes, quote, being constantly badgered by a weirdo nerd with a clipboard. Name, Freya Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, artist. Deceased. Understand this. Most people find me difficult. They exhibit a noticeable degree of discomfort when talking to me. There it is. Freya, who had a way of being an exception to any given rule, was not at all like this. She is very important, and I will not rest until I understand what has happened to her.
Did you spend a lot of time with Freya recently?
I will say this. In the past year, Freya became, 1, increasingly independent, and 2, increasingly isolated.
Do you know why?
I do not. If you are looking for a speculative, empathetic opinion, try asking Poppy instead.
The three of you are friends.
We are of a similar age, and all highly gifted. 1 scientist, 1 artist, and 1 musician.
Sounds like quite a team.
Name, Fitzfellow. Age, 24. Profession, cryptobotanist. Likes soil, dislikes electric lights.
Hang on. Cryptobotanist? I thought he was just a gardener.
That may well be his preferred label. Mine, however, is more accurate.
Do you and Fitz not see eye to eye, Fifi?
We do not.
Well, I wouldn't have thought so. He's well over 6 foot and you've got to be just barely 5.
So what's your problem with him?
Exactly 1 week ago, I witnessed him sneaking up Pointer Tower. He was making every effort to avoid detection.
So?
He was also carrying a knife. Name, Percival Pointer. Age, 57. Profession, none.
I'm pretty sure he's an astronomer.
Oh yes, of course. How uncharacteristically forgetful of me. Name, Penelope Pointer. Age, 27. Profession, ornithologist. Likes, birds. Dislikes, insects. Notes, Penelope is very beautiful. I have never had very much in common with her. Name, Poppy Pointer. Age, 19. Profession, Apparently Poppy has defaced my notes. Under profession, I had of course originally written pianist, but she has crossed that out and written the ghost of Christmas yet to come. What is your opinion of Tangle Tower?
Oh, it's impressive. Elaborate gardens, unique architecture.
Must be worth a fortune.
Why do you ask, Fifi?
I am the heir of the Fellow family and the Remington family. This makes me the sole beneficiary of Tangle Tower.
That's quite an inheritance.
They can't make you do anything, Fifi. If you don't want the house, just tell them. Or just sell it. Who cares?
You sound like her. I require facts. What do you know?
Well, we know Freya was stabbed with a knife, and then she fell...
Correction. She was stabbed with something. There was no knife found at the crime scene.
Apart from the one in the painting.
Which, as a mere abstract representation, does not count. Nobody has ever been stabbed by the concept of a knife. This belongs to Poppy. In fact, she owns a number of cassette tapes.
What happened to it, though?
It has been left underwater for an extended period of time.
Right, but why?
I do not know why. The statue itself does not interest me, but I do wish to know about those symbols on the harp. Have you deciphered their meaning yet?
We're working on it.
We are.
Curious. The red paint on the brush is not paint. It is blood. Same for the palette.
So Freya added the blood to the painting herself?
Or blood got on the brush and palette some other way?
I do not know the answer. Freya is normally highly skilled at capturing someone's likeness, but in this painting, she has accidentally made Flora look quite young.
I think she was just being kind.
Why is that kind? Anyway, I'm far more interested in what Flora is holding. I performed the test on the red paint myself. I discovered that it was in fact not paint, but blood.
What made you want to test it in the first place?
It was Poppy. She told me she thought the painting looked like a bloody knife. I told her not to be ridiculous. My mother owns no such knife. But then I noticed that the color was slightly too dark, and the substance itself was overly viscous.
You noticed that just from looking at it once?
Of course.
Fifi, did you test the red paint in this pot?
Yes, I did. I discovered it too was blood, not paint.
A whole pot full of blood?
Not a whole pot. It is only partially full.
Yeah, but still. Doesn't that freak you out?
No. In fact, it may be considered rather reassuring. The gramophone belongs to Poppy, but I believe she gave it to my mother, and my mother often loaned it to Freya. Or maybe it is the other way around.
When did it get cracked?
I cannot pinpoint it exactly. All I know is that it must have happened sometime in the last 2 days.
Is she laughing?
That belongs to my mother. I think she must be fond of eggs. There are a number of egg-shaped carvings to be found in the garden and in the Grand Hall.
Yeah, what's the deal with all the eggs?
Some people just like eggs. A wooden carving of my father, made by my father. Although, now that I look at it, I do not understand how he was able to paint the red parts without any red paint. It is a model of Freya, made by my father.
A model of Flora, you mean?
And a man with a beard. And a little red and white creature.
Why would my father make a model of Freya? I believe Freya was attempting to communicate something through this painting.
Any idea what it was?
I am not the person to ask. All I see is a blood-red mountain with angry storm clouds brewing above it. As such, I cannot ascertain any meaning from it whatsoever. There is a drawing of me, a drawing of Detective Hawkshaw, and a drawing of Poppy and Fitz. This photograph is my favorite photograph.
So, why'd you rip it in half?
That was not me. Besides, it was not a half that was ripped off. It was only a third.
Do you know who was reading this book?
It belongs to my mother.
And she left it in the library?
No, my mother has not been in the library for some time. A book. My book.
And what's in it?
Pages. This belongs to Professor Pointer, does it not?
No, I don't think so.
Who else would own such a pointless little telescope?
It's a telescope.
Oh, yes. It has a telescopic lens. It could only be used for looking at things that are far away. The fruit here has a unique chemical makeup. It makes them completely pointless, unless you wish to cut it down and sell it as a precious stone.
It's not edible.
Depends
On what?
on the structural integrity of your teeth. That blade.
It's a troll for gardening.
It is. Why did Poppy leave shards of glass all over this statue?
What makes you think it was Poppy?
The statue lives in the music room. Who else would it be? An item from Poppy's childhood. Her earliest piano lessons hold some special significance for her.
Why's that?
No idea. She has never graced me with the details, and I am not forthcoming enough to ask.
You two are friends, right?
We are, yes.
But
It is clear to me now that Poppy has become tired of my company.
is it anything to do with Freya?
Oh, no. The changes in Poppy's mood have nothing to do with Freya. Her concerns simply lie elsewhere.
Who is that in the photo?
I'm quite sure that I have no idea. I am scared of birds.
Why?
It is an irrational fear. I have no suitable explanation.
Oh,
It is a flower. It reminds me of something, but I cannot say what. Who is this her to whom the message refers?
well, I don't know exactly.
Then how can I meaningfully evaluate this object? Next! Now this is interesting. Where did you find it?
In the astronomy tower.
And yet, it does not concern the field of astronomy.
Nope.
In fact, you could even say that entomology is the exact opposite of astronomy.
Yeah, you could.
I would not say that, however.
Oh, you wouldn't?
No, it would be quite naive. To study science in any field is to study the connections between all matter in the universe, living or inanimate.
Is this yours, Fifi?
I do not recognize it. And besides, I would have no use for such a thing. Perhaps it could be used to hang wet laundry?
Was that a joke?
Yes.
What's wrong?
Earmuffs do not go on statues. What a mess. Penelope should tidy up after herself.
These weren't dropped by Penny. They were dropped by birds, I think.
My argument stands.
Did you ask Freya to paint this? Or was it her idea?
What is that you're holding in the painting, Flora? Some people have been saying it's a knife. Is this your gramophone?
Do you know why it's cracked? Flora, this is your egg? Why do you keep it locked?
Is there supposed to be something in there, or is it always empty? What do you think of your husband's hobby?
Do you have any hobbies? You haven't seen this yet, have you?
It's a little model of you. Who were the other people next to you?
This is a photo of Fifi, isn't it? Your daughter? Have you seen this book before? Do you know who it belongs to?
I really thought she was going to say something there.
Do you know anything about these birds? Or birds in general? Do you know anything about this beetle?
Do you know what this is?
Guess not.
Do you recognize any of these feathers?
Dearest Flora, a remarkable woman. Oh, yes. Been married over 20 years now.
You two still get on?
Of course. What a question.
She hasn't gone quiet on you.
It's true she has an independent streak. She's had it her whole life. She's the youngest of 3. Always something of a lone wolf, you know? Just the way she is.
Lone wolf is putting it lightly. She doesn't seem to want to talk to anyone.
She just likes time to herself, away from the company of other humans.
Other humans?
Well, yes, other people, you know. You're the one currently basking in his presence. You tell me.
Let's move on.
My daughter Fiona, our little burgeoning genius. You've met her?
We did. She's going by Fifi these days.
So I've heard. I asked her some weeks ago, what's wrong with your real name? She told me, get this, she wanted a name with an even number of syllables. She makes up the strangest things when she's under pressure.
What makes you think she made that up?
I happen to know the real reason she prefers Fifi over Fiona.
Oh, yeah?
It's what Freya called her. Quite the character, eh? A fellow member of the Order of the Crimson Cloak.
Is that a real thing?
No, I just meant because we both wear, you know, red capes of a sort.
Has she questioned you yet?
If you call that questioning, she seemed bored by everything I had to say. I heard on the grapevine, supposedly Hawkshaw is searching for some rare item, something called the Golden Beetle. Honestly, it's probably a bunch of sensationalist rubbish.
You reckon?
Quite sure. There is no treasure called the Golden Beetle.
How do you know?
Because I would have heard of it. Uncommonly skilled as an artist, but Freya was so much more than her talent. She helped me get started with my own painting, you know. It taught me what she knew about wood carving, too. Tremendous patience. She was ever so good with dear Flora.
Freya and Flora were close?
Oh, yes, especially recently.
How are you related to Freya?
Somewhat distantly, as it happens. My father, Lord Fellow, was her grandfather. Technically, that makes her a fellow. Let's just say there was some discussion over whether she ought to carry the name at all. There's a family tree in the Grand Hall. You should take a look at it.
What about her inheritance?
Freya's parents died when she was around 3 years old. She came to live here shortly afterwards.
Nobody left her a thing?
I'm afraid not. She had no formal claim over anything at Tangle Tower. Fitz? I don't trust him. He's slippery. Never commits to anything. Brain like an onion.
An onion?
Did you two have an argument?
No, but my daughter doesn't like him at all. And I trust Fiona's judgment entirely. She's a very vigilant young woman. Percival Pointer. Good old... So, what do you reckon? Is he the murderer?
I don't know, maybe. We still need...
That is not information we're willing to share at this time.
I'm just saying, keep an eye on him. Holds on to a lot of bitterness, does old Pointer. Just because he's always struggled to support his family. Slightly pathetic, really.
And how long have you known him?
Over 35 years.
Childhood friends? Rivals?
Don't know if I'd do him the honor of considering him my rival. Penelope seems to have really settled into a groove. She struggled a bit when she was younger. Always a little estranged.
How come?
Well, she was mostly raised by her uncle, and he really only makes time for his own daughter. Now, of course, she's bringing the two families together through her marriage. It's a nice gesture, heartfelt, but futile. Poppy's a good friend to my daughter, always has been. I think they get on well because they're so different.
Different, like how?
Poppy is, she's quite introspective, good with feelings. Fiona, not so much. Still, Poppy always seems to be sulking about something.
The heavy, heavy price of emotional intelligence.
Charming, isn't it? Yes. Built by the Remington family originally. Dear Flora's father and his associates.
But now it's owned by you? By the Fellow family?
The Fellows and the Pointers have both come to claim a certain degree of ownership.
And who named it Tangle Tower?
Flora chose the name.
What does it mean?
I think it was her intention that it mean nothing at all. Something of a fresh start.
From what?
This really isn't for me to say, but she had some kind of disagreement with her siblings. After they moved away, Flora changed the name of the house. I think perhaps she hoped it would make them feel unwelcome, less likely to come back.
That's kind of extreme.
Yes, it is rather, isn't it? What's this?
It's my case file. It's how I know what I'm supposed to be doing.
You mean to say you're bound by the limits of what's written in this little document? Sounds dreadful.
I found it comforting.
That looks like it might belong to Poppy. Rather ugly, isn't it, as far as statues go? Years of wind and rain have not been kind to it either.
Do you know what it is? The creature, I mean.
It's connected to the Remington family history in some way, but I can't recall. I'm as confused as you are. It's unlike her to leave paint on the brush.
I think we'll give her a pass, given the circumstances.
Ah, yes, so we shall. It would have been a beautiful painting. It's rather a shame Freya was unable to finish it.
Nothing about it seems strange to you.
Well, all these modern paintings are slightly strange, aren't they? The emotion of the piece taking over from, say, Anatomical accuracy.
What about the knife in Flora's hand?
A knife? That's what you see?
You don't?
Well, as I was saying, Freya's artistic approach distorts certain shapes. Hard to say exactly what we're looking at. Looks like Freya's paints.
Do you know why the pots are cracked down one side?
No, that's very odd. They're normally in excellent condition.
You seem pretty sure about that.
Flora's quite fond of that old thing. It's in poor shape, though.
Do you know what happened to it?
Can't say I do. That looks like it might belong to Poppy.
Does Flora normally keep something in here?
She must do, but I admit I've never managed to work out what.
Why not just ask her?
I feel like if somebody keeps something locked away in a ceramic egg, it's because they don't want to be asked about it.
Rules to live by.
I've been carving for a couple of years now. I was hopeless when I started, but it didn't take me long to master it, as you can see.
Do you paint them yourself too?
I do indeed. Freya kindly taught me the basics. Nowadays, I can make just about anything I can imagine. Of course, this particular model is a self-portrait based on hard fact.
Hard fact, huh? So, you own a sword, Felix?
Of course. I own a great many. But my weapons are stored well away from Tangle Tower. Safety first and all that. You found it. What do you think, huh? I had to rush the final touches a little bit. It turned out all right, though.
What's it supposed to be?
It's Flora, of course, surrounded by all her favorite people. That's one of Freya's paintings, is it not? It's impressive, but a little miserable for my tastes. Freya was quite the talent. She had a way of capturing the spirits of her subjects. Not in an evil way, in a good way. My daughter Fiona and her best friend, they grow up so fast.
Do you know why it's ripped like that?
Ah, yes. I didn't even notice. No idea. Where did you find that?
It was in the library.
Really? How odd. Why would someone lock up a book like that?
We think it's a secret diary.
Aha! Teenagers are funny, aren't they? Why don't you ask Fiona about that one? Looks like her area of expertise. That looks like it might belong to Fitz. I've never seen that before. Looks valuable. Now this is still in very good condition, apart from the crack, of course.
What about those shards on the inside of the horn?
Looks like somebody broke a glass and was trying to conceal the evidence. Cunning. I've never been one for music. Why not ask Poppy instead? Oh dear.
Do you know who this is?
Not a clue. Bizarre things, aren't they? Penelope seems rather attached to them.
Do you not feel sorry for them in that little cage?
Come now, I'm sure they could leave if they really wanted to. That looks like it might belong to Fitz. Goodness me! What's this all about? Some kind of rare jewel?
I'm pretty sure the research is about a real insect.
If it's made of gold, then it's made of gold. What is it?
We don't know. We were really hoping you would.
My friends, shed your hope and let it fall free like sandbags from a hot air balloon.
That's the most depressing idiom I've ever heard.
The statue was up in the rooftop garden.
Yes, it's been there a while. You can see the brass is slightly tarnished by the elements, but it's not too bad. Might be salvageable. Is that a clue? Really?
It might be. There's something about Felix's painting supplies. Something suspicious.
Let's ask him about it.
There's something about the image of Flora in the painting. Something suspicious.
Let's ask her about it.
So, this painting, specifically that knife in Flora's hand.
Yeah, it's creepy. But we didn't find a knife anywhere in the room. So what's going on?
It's not a knife. We need a clue to compare with the painting. Something to explain what that knife shape actually is. Let's take a closer look at this. The painted knife is actually just a feather from an ink dip bird.
It's definitely the right shape, but the book's not in color. The thing Flora's holding in the painting is red and white, specifically. Is there anything to suggest that the ink dip bird is red and white too? This little thing? I don't understand why Felix would make a model of this bird as part of a gift for Flora. And come to think of it, why would Flora be holding a feather in the painting anyway?
The ink-dip bird was Flora's pet, so she kept a single feather to remember it by.
She kept the bird as a pet. And it died?
Maybe it flew away.
Flora spends all her time staring out the window.
Either way, she kept the feather. I think it was pretty important to her.
All right, so she was holding the feather while Freya was painting her. But where is it now? You'd think she'd keep it somewhere close by.
Yeah, I think she does. Normally. This is where Flora usually keeps her feather.
But we opened it. It's empty.
Mm-hmm. Completely empty. Flora? She's pointing at something in the corner of the room.
It's just a pile of books. They're not... Wait, there's something tucked inside this one. I like these drawings, Flora.
Is there a reason why you wanted us to see them?
These drawings are quite precious. I'm surprised Flora let you see them.
What happened to the bird? Did it die?
I don't know. Seems likely, though, doesn't it?
So, about this paint we found in your room.
Nothing suspicious about it. I used it to paint, obviously. Totally normal thing to do.
We never said it was suspicious.
Come on then, out with it. What exactly are you accusing me of?
It's not your paint pot. Did you take it from somewhere else?
What on earth? It's definitely mine. I even have proof. Look, the lid matches the ones on all my other paint pots. End of discussion.
That's not the end of the discussion.
We need a clue to compare with Felix's red paint. Something to prove who it actually belongs to. Let's take a closer look at this. Freya's red paint pot was stolen and replaced with Felix's red paint pot, but the lids were swapped to hide it.
That red paint is from Freya's supplies, not yours. Swapping the lids doesn't hide what you did.
Why are you bothering me about paint anyway? And none of this is connected to your murder.
This red paint pot was somehow filled with blood before Freya used it to paint Flora.
Oh, that's definitely something. Right, fine. Here's the story. I was busy working on a project when I suddenly realized I had run out of red paint. There was a certain amount of time pressure, so I politely asked Freya if I could borrow hers. Just for a little while, you know, perfectly reasonable request.
But she said no.
I tried to explain why I needed it, but she didn't seem to care. So, I took Freya's red paint pot and swapped it with my own empty one.
You went into her room?
Not my proudest moment, but it's just paint. I didn't touch anything else.
And the paint pot you left behind was definitely empty?
Quite. I have absolutely no idea how it got blood in it, if that's what you're asking.
Why were you in such a hurry to get a hold of red paint anyway?
I was trying to finish this in time for Flora's birthday. I needed red to paint the final details.
Could you not have just used a different color?
Out of the question. It had to be red and white.
If you managed to finish it, why haven't you given it to Flora yet?
Well, I decided against it in the end. After what happened, seemed a bit insensitive.